everyone. Welcome to another Ashram Talk session. Today we're joined by a very special speaker, Sri Rangapuri Das, originally from Bolivia, currently in Texas. Welcome, Rangapuri Peru. We're so excited to have you on today.
Hare Krishna, pranams to all Vaishnavas, to all guests. Thank you for this opportunity to address the great Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you for being here. And for those of you who have not heard Rangapuri Prabhu before, I'd like to mention that I think you've had a really interesting variety of life experiences. Like you've been a diplomat, a social scientist, a scholar, and one way or another, your spiritual practice has accompanied you, I think, in all of those stages, I would imagine. So we're very interested and looking forward to hearing from you today.
Thank you. And actually, the verse today also talks about different endeavors that one does to try to, get something from life.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, very fitting for you. So whenever you're ready, we can get started for today.
Sure. So today we're studying the text 28 from the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuruminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadam Hemdati Sapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatan Sagana Ragunatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganarita Sekam Vitamscha Jai. So the verse today reads like that. Dravya Yagyastapo Yagya Yoga Yagyastata Parem Swadhyaya Jnana Yagyascha Yataya Samshita Vrata. There are others who, enlightened by sacrificing their material possessions in severe austerities, take strict vows and practice the yoga of eightfold mysticism, and others study the Vedas for the advancement of transcendental knowledge. So once again, Dravya Yagyastapo Yagya Yoga Yagyastata Pare Swadhyaya Yagya Jnana Yagyascha Yataya Samsita Vrata. There are others who, enlightened by sacrificing their material possessions in severe austerities, take strict vows and practice the yoga of eightfold mysticism, and others study the Vedas for the advancement of transcendental knowledge. A little noise here. So let me solve this a little bit. Okay, so this verse in the Bhagavad Gita is so important because it's talking about different endeavors we make. So this is, excuse me, this is explained by Srila Prabhupada in this way. So the purport to this verse is this. These sacrifices may be fitted into various divisions. There are persons who are sacrificing their possessions in the form of various kinds of charities. In India, the rich mercantile community or princely orders opened various kinds of charitable institutions like Dharmashala, Annashatra, Atitishala, Anathalaya, Vidyapit, etc. In other countries too, there are many hospitals, old age homes, and similar charitable foundations meant for distributing food, education, and medical treatment free to the poor. All these charitable activities are called Dravya Maya Yagya. There are others who, for higher elevation in life or for promotion to higher planets within the universe, voluntarily accept many kinds of austerities such as Chandrayana and Chaturmasya. These processes entail severe vows for conducting life under certain rigid rules. For example, under the Chaturmasya vow, the candidate does not shave for 4 months during the year, July to October. He does not eat certain foods, does not eat twice in a day, and does not leave home. Such sacrifice of the comforts of life is called Tapomaya Yagya. There are still others who engage themselves in different kinds of mystic yogas, like the Patanjali system, for merging into the existence of the Absolute, or Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga for particular perfections. And some travel to all the sanctified places of pilgrimage. All these practices are called Yoga Yagya, sacrifice for a certain type of perfection in the material world. There are others who engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literatures, specifically the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras, or the Sankhya philosophy. All of these are called Swadhyaya Yagya, or engagement in the sacrifice of studies. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking a higher status of life. Krishna consciousness is, however, different from this because it is the direct service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above-mentioned types of sacrifices, but can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotee. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is transcendental. So Krishna is not giving the final conclusion here. He's talking about what other people is doing. There are others. It's important that Krishna uses this. He's describing what we actually do not do. It's what others are doing. Means that everybody's trying its best according to whatever has handy or is in, upon their reach, whatever they can do. Actually, this is a natural inclination. Even when we are children, we don't have knowledge, but we want to do good for others. And that's actually a very important thing. But because we're children, we don't know what's actually good. But we have some sense, some intuition that, okay, people is suffering, people is in need, so let's give something. So it's a good way to manifest one's inclination to goodness. But goodness is not enough, because this world is composed by these three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So being good is nice, but it's not perfect. Why? Because one has to understand, why do we suffer? It's not just mitigating something. So we need to understand why that's happening. It's like if one's in the ocean, in a boat, and then there's water in the boat. It's very good that we take out the water that's coming into the boat. It's good. But where is this water coming from after all? So when we acquire knowledge, we go to the root. So we have to understand, where is this water coming from? So if we don't answer this, the water will keep coming. And we'll keep on doing stuff, doing good, bringing this, doing this other, bringing food and this. And one interesting thing here, because this is understood as what others do, so the hint will be, what do we do? We don't do direct charity. We don't do that because direct charity means it's your own capacity, but you're also suffering. Your own mistakes, your own capacity, your own foolishness, somehow you're offering that. But the path of bhakti means give Krishna's grace. So the food we give first to Krishna. Then that food has Krishna's power. It's not just our effort. So it's multiplied, unbelievable times. So infinite times. So when we do that, we actually not only multiply the effect of the activity, but give that person the connection with the Supreme Lord. So he's not lost anymore. So if you're lost and you do things because you're lost, it's good to find a path back home. And this is the process of Krishna consciousness. That's why even Krishna is just describing what others do. No? Others are sacrificing their possessions. But it's very interesting. A very important spiritual master used math to explain this. One of the things one learns when goes to school is like geometry. So you have point A, where you are now, and you shouldn't be there. So it's like we are in this world there is suffering, so we don't want to suffer. So in one sense, we understand we need to be detached. Yeah, even Alexander the Great understood this detachment. One of his instructions was, when I die, please take my corpse with my hands outside the coffin. So people will see that I'm not bringing anything with me. And he said, all the riches I collected with so much effort, all the treasures I got, so give those away, throw those in the road where my coffin is taken. So you'll see that there is so much riches, I cannot take any, my hands are empty. It's interesting, but still the main question is, where are you going? Okay, you're not taking all this stuff, but where are you going? What's your next destination? And then, when we are aware of that, then comes the point B. So if you know the destination, that's point B. What does it mean? That if you're going to be in an automatic way, you're giving up A. So that's intelligent detachment. So because you know the destination, then detachment is also natural. If you just try to get detached from A, you may be even going to the opposite side of B. So going from A to B means a direction. Even in physics, it's a vector. A vector has a direction. It's not just random. Random doesn't bring results. Like some people, very foolishly think, oh, this world is created, in a random effort, explosion, and then everything takes into place. Try it yourself, put all your papers in a place and all the stuff, and then bring up an explosion and see if everything fits into place. Will it? Surely not. It's just the opposite. The opposite is you find everything scattered and then you put things into place. So that's the function of the intelligence. So less intelligent people, as Prabhupada used to say, fools and rascals, and he's talking to scientists. Because if you don't know the purpose, you're actually very foolish. Because your efforts don't have a result. It's just like, pushing the gas, but your car is in neutral. So you're burning your gas, but you're going nowhere. So like that, it takes so much effort even to get things in this world. And then, let me give them up. It's very foolish. You shouldn't have done that in the beginning if you don't want it. If it doesn't have value, why you get that? Why you do that? Why you strive for that? So, of course, it could be a step towards the good could be a step towards the perfect. Actually, the perfect is called the pure goodness. Shuddha Sattva. Sattva is goodness, but Shuddha Sattva is pure goodness. But this pure goodness is only understood if you understand the goal. Like recently there was, the World Cup, whatever, everybody was playing. Here they say soccer, in other places they say football. So they were just, probably they are still doing that. But clearly the goal is marked. If you just shoot the ball anywhere, if the DT, the technical guy says, "Oh, just shoot the ball," strong with all your strength, you may be hitting your own goal. So means that if there is no direction, you can be actually going against yourself. Even charity, sometimes you give charity, you see a person in dire need of things, and say, okay, let me give something, it's important. You give that. But probably that person is addicted to some drugs. So instead of bringing food to their family, what you think will get more intoxication, will be more mad. And maybe will die of an overdose. Maybe you've contributed to his death. You don't know. So, direction in one sense is everything. So where are you going? A compass. You need this. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is very important. Because everything, even your good feelings, if you don't understand why, where, how, then you waste your time. So this is the mercy of Krishna, explaining us how things work. And there is another very good example given by Bhakti Thakur. Bhakti Thakur says this, that it's like the process of the sugar cane. The cane is there, but if you just lick the cane, there's no taste, there's nothing, you could say. But there's something very sweet inside. So what you do to process it, you have to crush the cane. So in one sense, we have to crush all our conceptions in the favor of the perfect conception. Because if it's not perfect, it will not work. We only strive for the perfect. We only learn from the perfect. That's the nature of the soul. If you go study math and it's not the right way to do it, you won't get the result. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, okay, you have to crush it. And then a juice comes. Actually, there's a taste from detachment. There's a little taste. Some relief. But that's not enough. You need to boil that juice. So you have to boil that juice to make it concentrated. But what is the fuel? The fuel is the begaza. The same thing you've crushed, you use it to produce the fire, as fuel. So, everything we know, everything we did, everything we can have a meaning if we use it for the higher purpose. Again, Prabhupada used to say, if you had a check, given to you, okay, I give you a check, 3 zeros for you, but it's still 0. Okay, I'm not happy, I'll put 4 zeros. 4 zeros for you. 4 zeros, but what will I do? You go to the bank, 0, 0, 0, 0. They say it's nothing. Okay, let me add two more. So I'll put 6 zeros, 6 zeros there. So you keep on striving for getting better. But that process will not come to an end unless you put a number 1 in the beginning. And that's it. Whatever you've learned, whatever you know, whatever you did in your life can make a sense if you offer that to Krishna. So that's putting the number 1. So even, whatever you have acquired so much, with so much effort, if you offer that to Krishna, you put the number 1, and you acknowledge this, actually this is Krishna's. I'm just giving, to whom it belongs to. So you're giving to Krishna. It makes perfect. Okay, you had some savings. Don't throw them in the street saying, oh, I'm detached. That's very foolish. But if you offer that to Krishna, either printing books, donating to, the service of the Lord in the temple or the sadhu or whatever, then it makes sense. It becomes perfect. So going back to the example, so you're heating up this juice from the cane and it's becoming sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. So the more you offer, whatever you have, your mind, your words, your actions to Krishna, the more tasty your life becomes very sweet. And then, you keep on fueling with the anartha, what you don't need actually, what you're crushing your ego. False ego is going there. And then it's becoming very good. Of course, it's a long process. And it comes to a point for the molasses won't turn into sugar unless something happens. There comes to a point where you boil it, but never comes sugar. Then you need to add just 1 crystal of sugar and drop it there, and everything becomes crystal. It's a very interesting process. So that thing you're adding, that's the perfect association. So in the process you can get better with good association, but once you get the perfect association, of course when the thing is mature, also you'll experience the sweetness in its most concentrated and perfect form. So, in this way, our efforts can be dovetailed for Krishna's pleasure. And then will make every sense. Then whatever, now going back to the example of Alexander the Great, you know, if he would have a bona fide guru, because his guru was not really bona fide, Aristotle was. Plato was bona fide guru, it's interesting, but his disciple was not. Although some consider him more famous, more like this, more like that. You know, he studied 20 years under Plato. But then he didn't catch the main thing told by Plato. What was that main thing? We're not this body. You know, bona fide guru will tell you that from the beginning. We're not this body. The soul is something completely different from the body. But he was confused about this, the body, the psyche. So maybe there is some connection. There's no connection at all. So he didn't understand that. And then he came to the point that he couldn't understand clearly what's spiritual and what's material. So he kind of mixed both. But you cannot mix both. You have to actually learn to separate both. You have to learn clearly, crystal clear. This is spirit, this is matter. Because there are different substances. So, if he were a disciple of Plato, you know, his hands would be offering to Krishna. His treasures would be offered, you know, to the Vaishnava. So that would be a completely different result. Imagine that. So this knowledge will take us there. So this Bhagavad Gita is so important because the Lord Himself is helping us to understand the purpose of life. And He's doing in such a way that we cannot miss it. And especially, you know, the spiritual master is the ones that keep us focused. You know, don't deviate. You know, keep the direction. Not just get detached. Don't do things whimsically. Don't give up things that actually are not yours, are Krishna's. So give those back to Krishna. Even that body is not yours. Looks like it's yours. You even say it's me. Mistake. It's given to you. So it's to be used for the real owner. So the owner of the body is the proprietor. You are not. So this is Krishna giving us directions, and we're taking gladly because it's perfect. So we're going from good to perfect. In this verse, Krishna is explaining what's good, and later he'll explain what's perfect. It's good to sacrifice, it's good, it's nice. But it's not enough to be nice. You have to have purpose, you have to have the right direction, and then everything becomes perfect. So even if we are imperfect, but we're following the perfect instruction, we become perfect. That's the lesson behind. So I wonder if somebody wants to do some comment, question. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rangapuri Prabhu, for everything that you've shared today. I think this is a really interesting topic because a lot of people, maybe especially people with a spiritual practice, we might pride ourselves on being just very good people, right? Like you mentioned. You know, so, you know, I don't know if there are practitioners or aspiring practitioners, people in general who might enjoy giving some charity or think about, you know, sacrificing something for others or being very disciplined. How can we try to make sure that, or how can we try to make these habits spiritual habits, habits that can benefit our spiritual life and that are not just, you know, don't stay at that level of just being a good habit or a good practice?
Yeah, it's very good. Actually, the solution is Krishna consciousness. So you make sure you're conscious of Krishna. So whatever there is, has to be offered to Krishna, first of all. First and foremost, whatever you're planning to do, first offer to Krishna. Krishna, it's yours. Acknowledge that. And then upon his blessing, like food is a good example. Then, same food will have thousandfold result. So if you're planning to give $1, or I don't know, £1 there in England, or un peso, 1 peso, you will solve probably a little need of the day. But if you're giving 1,000, because you multiply what you're giving, it's best for him, it's best for you. But not only that, because you're giving a connection so he can have that in a permanent way, he'll be rid of poverty. Because poverty and need is caused by karma. So what will you do? If the karma says you owe this much, like in the bank, you have a bank account, you owe the bank that much. So you'll get the bill. They'll send the bill. They won't say, oh, this guy is not in good condition. No, the bill will come timely. So, in one sense, there's a debt we have. We have to clean that debt. But in other sense, who is the one that can delete that? Because, paying your bills is being a good guy. But why don't you delete that? Why don't you erase it? Who can delete the karma? Only Krishna. Because the material laws are very strict. Sometimes you ask some favor from demigods, and actually that's upasana kanda. But even demigods or gods, they cannot uproot because you keep the desire. So your desire will push you to do it again. Your own desire will push you to mistake again. So how to uproot that? So the Lord is the one that does it, because he's the cause of all causes. When you come to that, if you connect everything to the cause of all causes, then you're safe. And the person you're giving charity, or the animal, or even the insect you're giving charity, will be benefited forever. He will have unconsciously brought a ticket going back to Godhead. Because even when you chant Hare Krishna loudly, this sound vibration will benefit even the ants. Imagine that. How will you benefit an ant? You don't like the ants. Well, probably you do. I don't know. If you see a lot of ants in your kitchen, say, blessed day. Woohoo, so nice. All these creatures around. Great, and I have a lot of sugar for you. Woo, take it over. Maybe not. But because you chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All those insects are benefited with the holy name. Someday they will do the same. Maybe not like an ant, for probably the ant language doesn't go that far. But then even if you accidentally kill one of those ants, because you need to offer to the Lord. You don't come to the Lord saying, oh Lord, please have this offering. It has some bugs there, little ants are spiders. It's not the proper offering. You have to clean it up, and maybe you'll kill some germs, you'll kill some ants, things like that. But because you're doing for Krishna, their lives are being sacrificed for Krishna. So it's so wonderful. So everything you do becomes a service. even something apparently cruel as killing an ant. If you're doing that for the pleasure of the Lord, that ant will say, thank you, thank you. Anyway, I had to die, but I died in the service. Probably I'll give an example. It's not, maybe I gave it before, I don't remember. There was a rat. People also doesn't like rats very much. I don't know, maybe some do. I want to prejudice. But, there was in the temple, a lamp was offered to the Lord. And then a rat came into the temple and sees something, bright. Says, oh, maybe some food. So, and then comes close, but has, this, the, too close to the fire. And then, gets the fire in the whisks and dies, burnt in the altar. But the Lord is so merciful that he took that, offered her life to me. She herself became a flame and gave liberation to that rat. So because that's the kindness of Krishna. So Krishna is so kind, it's beyond our imagination. So if we're giving Krishna, that's the highest charity, either in the form of prasad, the holy name, whatever we do, then we're going to the root problem. And also the temporary. Because if you get something through Krishna, it's multiplied. Okay, you had just £1 to give, now you're giving 1,000 pounds, because through Krishna everything becomes like that. So it's like smart moves. That's called Buddhi Yoga. Use your intelligence in the favor of the service of God.
Yeah, that's very helpful too, because I think, we don't want to become impersonal or indifferent to the needs of others in this process either, right? Like, just think, I'm on my path and I don't care, about anyone else's well being. So, what I hear from you is, we can help others and we should help, and we should have that intention to help, all living entities in any way that we can, but we should think about, like how we're helping them, right? Like, in what sense are we offering, some help or some relief to others?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
that's
actually, oh, sorry.
no, go on. Yeah.
If you don't care, you are actually evil.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens, right? Sometimes we might get confused and like thinking like I'm in my spiritual practice, and we get in this bubble where we like maybe we really start to not care about others, right? I think that can tend to happen sometimes.
Yes, and it's interesting, but I like to study a lot of Prabhupada life. It's like, for me, it's like number one, he's absolutely perfect. So he was in Mayapur Dham, and I don't know if it was 1 or 2 a.m. He started calling the devotees. Everybody was sleeping. He started calling, come here, come! He was in the veranda. And he asked all the devotees that were, what happened here? They were looking at the refusal, wherever the food is given up. There were dogs taking, the remnants, fighting with children. Children were also trying to get some remnant. They were so, so hungry.
Yeah.
They didn't have the food. So you see that? Devotees were startled. Yes. Someone said, "Oh, so bad karma," something like that. But said, now, I want you to feed all the people within 10 miles. And he said this, 10 miles around the temple, people should get prasadam. That's Prabhupada compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And Yeah, very inspiring example. And we also have some comments from Colleen, who joins us in every class. Colleen says, amazing class, Sri Rangapuri Das. I will use the questions to reflect on. Analogy of the sugar cane, wonderful. And she said, I love that you can benefit the ants by your chanting. So thank you so much, Colleen, for being here and for sharing your reflections also.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to continue chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, Rangapuri Prabhu, also for joining us today.
Dandavats. Pranams to all. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.